It is fear that brings all misfortune in our life. This channel talks a lot about reality and how you can create your desired life. But a lot of us are still surrounded by unwanted and painful circumstances. And this makes some of us believe that the world is separate from us. That how can I create my own misery? I didn't choose this. You did. But understand this. I want you to know this out of love for you. This is not so that you can blame yourself and beat yourself about it. But you must understand. We create our own misery. I am speaking from personal experience. Any fear that I have predominantly dwelled upon has come true. We all do it unconsciously. So, it is not to make you feel self-blame. But to make this unconscious conscious in you. As Carl Jung said. Unless you make the unconscious conscious. It will direct your life and you will call it fate. Fear of loss brings loss. Fear of loss of love brings lovelessness. Fear of getting your car scratched and dented will create exactly that. We call it fate or blame the outside world. Because we are not aware of our inner talking, based on fear. Now, this is not to say that 100% of your reality is coming out of you. A war or large-scale crises are a collective manifestation of the fear of the masses. An economic collapse comes when people have been living prosperously for long. And they begin to fear as to how long the prosperity will last. Or when is the next collapse coming. So, it comes. Not to mention that your childhood was deeply unconscious. So, it was dominated by unconscious programming of people around you. But the moment you fully awake your conscious faculty, you start to direct most of your life. And as we grow older, we get programmed by the masses. Their fears become our fears. And so on. But even in the manifestation of the masses, you can hold your ideal way out of the crisis in your consciousness. Or you can choose not to react to it and think accurately, rather than fear-based thinking. So, this is to make this unconscious programming conscious for you. Not to blame ourselves. Napoleon Hill talks about it in Think and Grow Rich. That there are 6 basic fears which rule the life of men. That is, fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age and fear of death. These fears are at the root cause of bringing about the misery in a man's life. Neville Goddard also states that it is our inner conversation that we must examine to find the cause of our life circumstances. You see. If you fear the loss of money, it is sure to come. If you fear that you will get cheated on, you will. It might not be directly that you fear getting cheated on. It could be that you feel unworthy or other limiting self-beliefs. This is not to say that you think about it once and it happens. It is the constant dwelling on a particular state of fear that makes it a reality. Our fears are as creative as our inner talking. Because where does fear comes from? It is nothing but inner talking. Inner talking is like your script in a movie. You are writing the drama of your life as you write and then act on your own script. And the more you dwell on a particular scene in your drama, the more real it becomes. So real that you get lost in it. This complete immersion can be felt in your body. For socially anxious people, it is the tightening in their chest or gut. Or the increase in heart rate when you are about to talk to a beautiful girl. You see, fear is a false reality that you can make factual in a matter of seconds. The emotional response in the body is the first manifestation of our inner talking. If it is positive, you feel good. If it is negative, you feel awful. And if you dwell on it long enough, then it brings about the circumstance that it affirms. Behind our negative mental chatter is fear. And fear is the main culprit behind the misery in this world. But the good thing is, it is a false thought. Because any thought that doesn't feel good is your inner being telling you that it is not true. It has no basis in reality unless you give it. When you are in fear, simply affirm this to yourself. I don't know. Exactly. You never know the full picture. Fear will make its own narrative 100% the only possibility there is. But in every single situation of our life, there are infinite possibilities. But our mind makes it so that only fear is the truth. So, you say this to your mind. I don't know. Do we? Do we ever know the full picture? Aren't we always speculating and predicting? Our mind bases its predictions always on false or limited and incomplete data. So how can you be so sure? The only real fear is when you are standing in front of a lion. But we all know that even animals can sense fear. If you do not panic, chances are the animal will leave you alone. But if you panic and run with fear, you will be chased and hunted. A bully feeds on your fear. Masses are being controlled by fear. Do you see the point? The moment you see fear for what it is. That is, a false fact fabricated by your mind not yet solidly real in your reality. Is the moment you begin to live freely. Because the beautiful thing is. We don't know. We never know the full picture. We never know how infinite intelligence can get us out of any situation. Because to infinite, possibilities are infinite. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza stated, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So, stop predicting fear. Stop making calculations as to how everything will go to shit. How you will fail or be rejected. And start creating your future. This is not to say that you stop being cautious and start jumping out of buildings. It is about not predicting rejection when you are about to approach a girl. It is about not fearing loss of money, but getting excited to earn more. It is about being more concerned with good health rather than ill health. It is about living rather than constantly fearing death. You still carry a gun if you are walking into a forest alone. But you don't constantly think about being eaten alive by a bear while you are there. Do you see? It is about acknowledging fear and then going back to your desired outcome. Feared outcome is just one outcome out of the unlimited possibilities in any given situation. Just as effortlessly we can materialize fear. We can do the opposite too. Just need a little bit of practice. Remember, most of us have been already conditioned with fear-based thinking for several decades now. So don't expect to one day wake up fearless. Instead, focus on becoming more fearless each day. See psychological fear for what it is, an imposter cloaked in a mirage of seeming self-protection. And always know the cost of sleeping with this elusive devil. It is alluring and it gets you completely lost in her. But the price you pay is the realization of your worst fears. And then we call it the sixth sense. Or see, I knew it. No. You didn't knew it. You created it. Again. This is not to blame ourselves. It is to become conscious of this shadow that is attached to us. A parasite sucking the happiness out of us. Now that you see it. It can't hurt you. It can't get a hold of you. Take your power back and start living how you want. Let your life be dictated by your desires rather than by fear. And you will truly see how elusive yet beautiful this drama of life is.